Oh, it is Sunday morning. It is week 13, and it is time to get your fantasy lineup set. Watch a big day of football with some hopefully incredible games. On paper, this is about as good as it gets. I am Adam Azer with Frank Stample, and the new guy is here, Jordan Dejani, joining us, one of our NFL writers. Did I butcher your name? Dejani or Jani?
Dejani, you did it perfectly.
Okay, I thought so. I even rehearsed it. I even asked him, and then I got on the air, and I thought I screwed it up, but all is well. I got the same jacket. I'm glad we both didn't wear them today,
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm excited about this week. It's an important week in fantasy. We have all these teams jockeying for playoff positioning. It's one of the most entertaining NFL slates as well, so a ton to break down today.
Yeah, absolutely. Frank, how we doing over there?
Doing well, man. Lots of stress. Big games for all of our teams today. Jets, Giants, Titans for Jordan. There's revenge narratives up the wazoo. It's going to be an awesome Sunday. Happy for it.
Absolutely. One person asking, is Chris doing okay? Chris is doing great. He's probably going to be on FFT in 5 tonight. Should be back to his regular duties pretty soon. So last show looks like without him. And he's recovering. And follow him on Twitter. You'll see all the progress he has made. So welcome aboard, everybody. Let's get to the big news here, and we'll read your questions in a little bit, but we'll just kind of start with the headlines. And Joe Mixon, I got him in 2 leagues. I just went to my 2 leagues, took him out of my lineup. He is unlikely to play according to multiple reports. If you have, P. Ryan, Frank, you tell me where you're ranking him, but if you have Mixon and you want to hold out hope, you obviously need to have a later option. You could maybe pick up Jerick McKinnon or Kyren Williams, but if you have a running back that you like at 1 o'clock, you probably should just start that player. And Frank, what are we doing with Samaje Perine coming off 2 big games in a row with the absence of Joe Mixon?
Yeah, so I have Perine ranked as a top 12 running back. He is just behind Christian McCaffrey and Aaron Jones. He's just ahead of Travis Etienne and David Montgomery. Perine coming off a game where he played 80% of the snaps last week, 21 touches, including 4 receptions. So I would expect another massive workload for him again. We're not expecting Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine in there as a top 12 running backs. But I agree with you. If you don't have Perine as a backup option for Mixon, you probably want to play it safe and just get one of these low-end RB2 flex-type running backs in your lineup if you can.
Jordan, Michael Carter is out. 1 o'clock game against the Minnesota Vikings. I said it's going to be a committee between, in no particular order, Bam Knight, Zonovan Knight, and Ty Johnson, and James Robinson will apparently be in the mix. What is your take on the Jets' backfield against the Vikings?
Yeah, I don't care about the committee talk. I'm very high on Bam Knight right now. I think I played him in both of my DFS lineups. Any fantasy league that I have him, I'm going to go ahead and start him. I'm not afraid necessarily of the committee talk, so I really like the rookie.
And Frank, let's talk about Najee Harris here, because he is going to play, which was a little bit surprising to find out on Friday. In fact, I had forgotten that I have to change my my FanDuel lineup, which has Jalen Warren in it. But do you like Najee Harris this week against the Falcons?
I don't not like him. I have him as a mid RB2. He's RB16 as of now. I do have Jalen Warren as a low-end flex option. I think we probably see something like 15 to 17 touches for Najee and 6 to 8, 8 to 10, something like that for Jalen Warren. So it's probably like a 70-30 split in favor of Najee Harris there. I do like him as, again, solid RB2, good matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. So, yeah, if I have him, I'm most likely starting Najee.
Okay. And last thing here before we read our questions, where was I going to? Well, Zamir White, and I was just looking at the inactives now. Travis Etienne is active. Cortland Sutton is active today. Jerry Jeudy is active today. So I don't want to start Cortland Sutton. Unfortunately, I have to start him over Joe Mixon in one league. Don't really want to start Jerry Jeudy either. I just, I don't think it's going to be a very good day for the Broncos. But for the Raiders, Josh Jacobs has now replaced Mixon as the toughest call. He played last week with the calf injury. There's obviously optimism about him, but he's got an afternoon game, a late game. So you might want to have a backup plan with Josh Jacobs. There's still, Zamir White is available in most leagues, so you can go and get him. But he's the one guy that you probably should be looking at. Looking forward to all of your Alvin Kamara questions in this this chat today. Let's get to it here. Dameon Pierce or Zay Jones in the flex, guys. What do you think?
I'm still going with Dameon Pierce. I know he's been brutal the past 2 weeks, but it is a fantastic matchup going up against the Cleveland Browns. It's worth mentioning Zay Jones was questionable heading into today. He is active. He is going to play. he is a solid wide receiver 3 for me, but I'm still going to go with Dameon Pierce for one more week.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious who you have in the running back slots above the flex, but I kind of lean towards Zay Jones at the same time. I mean, this guy's coming off of a career outing. The way that Trevor Lawrence was throwing the football was the most confident I've seen him playing in probably his entire NFL career. I want him to build on that confidence against a lackluster defense in the Detroit Lions. So I'm kind of leaning towards Zay Jones with that question.
Okay, yeah, I mean, Pierce is going to be another really tricky one. We love the matchup. We hate the production the last couple weeks. How about David Montgomery or Christian Watson?
I have David Montgomery as a high-end RB2 this week. Good matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Justin Fields back today for the Bears, so that should help the offense hopefully get down the field and create 1 or 2 potential scoring opportunities for Montgomery. They're not going to be plentiful, but I do like him over Christian Watson in this one.
I have both of those guys actually in one league, and I made sure that I can start both. I like David Montgomery. RB2 is probably what I would agree with. At the same time, Christian Watson going up against the Bears defense that just lost Eddie Jackson. That defense is obviously the reason that Justin Fields hasn't been able to win a game during this historic stretch he's been on before he suffered that shoulder injury. I'm going to lean towards Christian Watson in this one. I think that we could see maybe more of a full performance from him in terms of not him just catching 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns. I think that we can see him work more in the mid game as well.
Okay, yeah, the inactives are out for that game too. I don't know about if Romeo Doubs is playing. I don't know if that matters for anybody. Also, yeah, I just want to check on that. By the way, guys, Fields and Rodgers both come into the game with good matchups, playing well, but banged up. Jordan, what's your confidence level in Fields and Rodgers this week?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually made the Packers a best bet in my against the spread column over at CBS Sports. I know that Aaron Rodgers is dealing with that rib contusion that obviously hurts, especially when you're a quarterback with that throwing motion. But at the same time, Aaron Rodgers said it himself. He owns the Bears, even if it's in Chicago. So I like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, with Fields, he's obviously a dynamic playmaker, but I am kind of curious to see how this shoulder injury affects him. I understand it's not his throwing shoulder, but of course he missed last week. So I'm more confident in Aaron Rodgers at this point, especially since we have that outside talk and outside noise about him potentially being shut down for the rest of the season since the Packers aren't really in playoff contention.
Okay, Romeo Doubs is not playing, but Devondre Campbell is back. That is a big deal for the Green Bay Packers. Their best linebacker will be playing today. All right, Pierce, Watson, Pickens, or Pittman. A lot of P's here. And pick one in PPR. Pierce, Watson, Pickens, or Pittman. Ooh, man. You know what? I think I'm going to go Christian Watson here.
Yeah, this one's pretty close between Pittman and Watson. I have Pittman 1 spot higher. I think he's a little bit safer in terms of the targets that he'll receive. And again, full point PPR, I would expect more receptions for Pittman, but Watson probably has more upside. It's really close. I lean with Pittman.
I'm going to cut that list in half and just throw away the Colts. I'm looking at Christian Watson and George Pickens in my mind. I actually played Pickens in a couple of those DFS lineups. I think that he potentially could have a big day. But at the same time, we talked about Christian Watson as well. That's a tough call between them two. Probably leaning towards Christian Watson.
So Pickens is my I've got a feeling player of the week, which is a new segment. I've got a feeling about George Pickens. I just think, first of all, Atlanta's obviously a great matchup. But I just love the way, I love the rapport with Pickett. I wish there were more targets. He barely ever gets more than 6 targets in a game. But the Falcons see a lot of pass attempts against them. And he's got, 1 touchdown in his last 2 games, but should have been 3. So, Pickens, I wouldn't start him over Christian Watson or anything like that. I wouldn't go crazy. I'd start him over Sutton. I'd start him over Jeudy. I'd start him over like Peoples-Jones. Like Juju versus Pickens would be a really tough one. I probably just stick with Juju because I expect a lot of points in the Bengals game. But that's kind of how I feel about him. I feel pretty good about Pickens. Frank, you always have a feeling about someone. Who's your I've got a feeling player? Who's your Black Eyed Peas player?
I was going to say you turned your back on I've got a feeling. What happened to that back in the day?
I don't have any feeling about him. No thanks.
I think this one might be pretty obvious, but with no Brandin Cooks, I think Nico Collins could have a big game today. I am not starting him over someone like a George Pickens, but if you are desperate for a wide receiver 3 or a flex this week, or you need a cheap DFS play, he's 4,200 over on DraftKings. I think Nico Collins could see upwards of double-digit targets in a fairly good matchup against the Cleveland Browns. So I do like Nico Collins quite a bit.
All right. Got a feeling about anyone, Jordan? Seems like you got some DFS lineups out there.
Yeah, you definitely took one with Pickens. I'm very interested in what Chase Claypool can pull off without Darnell Mooney in the lineup. It seems like he's going to be a true number one wide receiver. I'll give you a deep sleeper. How about Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver Quez Watkins? I believe he's rostered in 3% of CBS Sports leagues, but he's scored double-digit points in the last 3 games. Very boom or bust guy, home run hitter. I already bet his over on props in terms of receiving yards. This is a guy I understand is definitely boomer bust, but if you're looking for somebody at the last minute, he's someone who can be that guy that maybe you throw in a flex as well. So I'm kind of high on Quez Watkins.
You're a Titans fan, as I'm just learning. You live in Nashville. I've been banging the drum about the Titans defense. Nobody seems to want to listen to me, I feel. But, since their bye week, their last 6 games, they're 3rd in the NFL in yards per play. They held every team they've faced since their bye to 20 points or less, including the Chiefs and the Bengals. And to me, the key is the personnel may not be amazing, but they don't blitz, and they manage to pressure the quarterback with a 4-man rush, which is like a cheat code in the NFL. What's your take on the Titans defense? You think they're for real?
It's a tale of 2 levels is the way I like to put it. They have a very formidable front 7, especially when it comes to that front 4. But when you look at the roster in terms of the secondary, the cornerback specifically, it leaves a lot to be desired. So if you're offensive line, if you're playing the Tennessee Titans and you can give your quarterback time to throw the ball, he's going to find success. And we saw just that last week against the Cincinnati Bengals where Joe Burrow and T. Higgins absolutely went off. So it's kind of hard to figure it out. If that Titans pass rush is going to get home, then that defense is going to be one of the top defenses in the NFL, in my opinion. But the cornerback play one-on-one specifically against bigger wideouts like A.J. Brown, even Devontae Smith, home run hitters like Quez Watkins, it's a little bit of a scary matchup. So kind of 50-50 when it comes to that Titans defense being for real or for not.
All right. We'll find out today. I mean, another really tough test for them and what should be one of the very good games that we have today. Let's start 2 running backs here. Najee, Bam, Pacheco, or Kyren Williams, PPR?
I'm going to go with Najee Harris, as I mentioned earlier. And, man, Pacheco versus Bam night is pretty close, but I will lean with Pacheco coming off that game with 22 carries last week. I'm just a little nervous about the Jets kind of spreading out their workload today.
The Steelers' injuries at running back are so weird to me. I mean, Jalen Warren was a full participant all week, but he was listed as questionable with a hamstring. Najee Harris was limited on Friday. I think that was the only day he practiced. No injury designation heading into this one. I understand why you want to start Najee Harris. I would probably agree with you there. We talked about Bam Knight. I think he's one of my guys, if you want to call it, I have a feeling player this week. I like Bam Knight a lot.
All right. Yeah, I don't know between Bam and Pacheco. That is a really tough one because I expect more catches for Bam Knight for sure. This is PPR. Pacheco, though, very consistent workload with the carries. I would lean Pacheco. I could see a scenario where James Robinson is a lot more involved than we want him to be. And the Vikings run defense has been terrific this year. So I'll lean Pacheco, but that one's really close. Aaron Jones, Samaje Perine, capitalized Vid Montgomery. Who we going here? Oh, that is very tough. Jones for sure. I'm going to go Jones and Perine. I like Montgomery a lot, but I'm going to go Jones and Perine.
Yeah, same. I've got Perine inside my top 12. As I mentioned as a top, he's a few spots ahead of David Montgomery. It's a close call. We're not expecting Mixon. I would expect another big workload for Perine, 15-plus touches today.
I agree with you. I think this is probably the toughest question that we've fielded so far. But I do really like Samaje Perine, like we both have mentioned. And then Aaron Jones, I feel like, is in for a good workload against the Bears.
Yeah, I guess the one thing would be is if there is some possibility that Joe Mixon is going to play. So if you don't want to even risk that, David Montgomery is a fine pivot there. We need a wide receiver and a flex and half PPR. Drake London, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Warren, Michael Pittman, and then Tua or Pickett.
I'm going to go with Pittman as the wide receiver. I'm going to go with...
I got to go Sutton.
Yeah, Warren versus Sutton is pretty close. I think I lean with Sutton as the flex, and then I'll go with Tua over Pickett.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Sutton and Pittman as my 2. The quarterback question is interesting to me. According to our CBS Sports projections, it doesn't seem like Tua is projected to have too many points this week against the 49ers. I get that he's operating without both of his starting tackles on the left and right side, but at the same time, I really like Tua Tagovailoa. By the way, guys, he is still yet to lose a game that he's finished this season. He's basically undefeated as a starter. The big statement victory, measuring stick game, whatever you want to call it. I like Tua Tagovailoa today, as you can tell by the vest.
Yeah, I mean, I understand being a little hesitant on Tua because Teron Armstead are just seeing word that he is not going to play today. But I can't sit him for Kenny Pickett, not just yet. All right, let's check in on our YouTube poll today, and it's a good one because Schaefer did it. He's pretty good at this. He was in a little bit of a slump. I'm not gonna lie, but I think he's back. What is your favorite gangster film of all time? Scarface, Goodfellas, The Godfather trilogy, or other? Oh, man. I feel like I have to go with other, but I don't know what my other one is. I'm going to click other, and then I'm going to Google best gangster films.
I've seen some people put The Departed in the chat, which...
Oh, yeah, that one's...
Yeah, I mean, it definitely should be in the mix if you're trying to consider other. How do you choose, right? I mean, this is fantastic. Scarface, Goodfellas, Godfather. Dave Richard is here.
No, he's not. Is he really?
Yeah, he is.
Hook 'em. What's up, Dave?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Are you going to answer questions or you're just hanging out?
Favorite gangster film? Goodfellas.
Yeah, that's
what
I'm
wait a minute. Does New Jack City count?
Oh, no, I don't think so. And there's that movie's stupid. That you're not putting that over Goodfellas. Come on. Goodfellas falls apart at the end. It really does. That's my beef with it. Spoiler alert. As soon as one of the great characters of the movie dies, the movie just falls to pieces. I mean, I should have gone with Godfather, but The Departed is probably the answer. That's a really good one. I like the Boston mob movies and TV shows and all that. Those are really good. All right, good poll. Good poll. All right, let's get back to it then. Gus, Pierce, Pacheco, pick 2.
I'm going to go with Pierce, and I think I have Gus one spot higher than Pacheco. I think they're very similar, not going to catch passes, lots of work on the ground. Pretty good matchup for Gus. I lean with him and Pierce.
Pierce is definitely 100% one of my 2. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with the other 2. I'm going to lean towards Gus Edwards since they're playing Denver. That Denver defense obviously started off the season very elite, but they've been kind of falling apart as of late, as we saw last week against Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers, kind of like Gus in this instance.
New Jack is stupid. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I feel like it's kind of hokey. I don't remember. You guys never seen. I get this. You're way too young to know New Jack City, right?
I literally Googled it as soon as you said it. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's a Wesley Snipes movie. I used to love it, but I don't think it holds up to, The Godfather or Goodfellas. It's not quite in that class. It was a great movie to watch when I was way too young to be watching it. Fields or Dak, and Lazard or Sutton?
I'm going to go with Fields, and I have Lazard a few spots higher than Sutton.
That is tough. I kind of want to watch Fields. I'm glad I don't have him in a fantasy lineup right now. Maybe I'll lean towards Dak Prescott, Allen Lazard, or Sutton. I'll lean towards Allen Lazard when it comes to the wide receiver question.
Yeah. Trey Burks or Pittman?
Ooh.
Man, I like Burks, and I like what he's doing recently. I think he's going to come on in the second half of the season here, but Pittman has been a little bit more consistent. I would expect more targets for him, so I'll go with Pittman.
If there's anything I can tell you or bring to the table during this talk, it's that Mike Vrabel is definitely going to give Treylon Burks touches in this matchup. I mean, the comparison between him and A.J. Brown has been around ever since, even before the trade, even before the draft. So Treylon Burks is going to get his touches. I kind of lean towards him in this instance.
Okay, interesting. I guess I'd go Pittman in full PPR. It would help to know the format here. Pittman, plays more, has more targets, all that stuff. I could see, Burks is going to need a big play. The problem is the Eagles just don't give up big plays. Now, we don't really know that that's going to be the case without their starting safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He left the game last week, and Christian Watson had a big catch and run. But that's just kind of what they've done the last 2 years under Jonathan Gannon. They don't let you behind them. Goff or Mike White?
Oh, this is super close. I was updating this earlier. I think I have Mike White just behind Goff. I just love that matchup, that game between the Jaguars and the Lions today. Very interested to see what Jameson Williams could do today. I don't think he plays a full complement of snaps. Maybe he plays 30, 40, 50%. I think they're going to get him on the field. They'll give him a few targets, 4 or 5, something like that, get him involved. But I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is in for a big day. I think Swift could see some work as well. So it's Goff just ahead of Mike White.
I like Jared Goff with this question. I think he's rostered in only 67% of CBS leagues. He's thrown 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions over the last 3 weeks. 240 passing yards versus the Bills. Maybe he could tell you something. Jameson Williams is coming back. Maybe he's good for just 1 home run ball for 40 yards or so on his very limited snap count. As for Mike White, we don't know what kind of consistency he has. I think he's made 4 career starts, 2 really good ones, 2 really bad ones. Not ready to start him on the road against Minnesota.
Okay, yeah, and I don't really see how Goodfellas is beating The Godfather. I just want to say that. Like The Godfather, maybe because Schaefer put the trilogy in there.
I think that's
Godfather 3. Yeah, why did you do that? You're back.
It's the option. It's an option because I didn't want somebody to say, "Oh, you only put the number one. You only put the first one on there." That's
the one you should have put on there. You shouldn't have put trilogy. You're
oh my gosh. And I was gonna have Goodfellas, but I thought Adam Azer would be like, "Oh, that's not really a classic."
No, it is a classic. It is. It's just, I don't know. The whole part.
You're in my head, man. That's what it is.
Good. I should be. I'm trying to make you better.
I love Schaefer's complaining listener voice. Oh, you didn't have all the Godfathers in there.
Yeah. That's accurate. Cousins, Goff, Garoppolo, Jets, Bucks, Steelers.
I've got Cousins highest of those 3. I'm a little bit worried. I mean, obviously the Jets secondary has been fantastic this season. And then for the defense question, I think it's Steelers against Atlanta.
Yeah, man, the Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to be without like every safety that they have.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's going to matter, but the Steelers, excuse me, have been pretty good when TJ Watt's been healthy. So Cousins and Steelers for me. Cousins and who for you, Frank?
I'm going with Cousins and Steelers, and just on the Bucks again. Antoine Winfield, Mike Edwards, and their cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting all doubtful, and then they've got a few other that are questionable as well. So
I like Goff in the quarterback question, to be honest with you guys. As for the defense, I'm leaning Steelers as well. I think they're kind of a sneaky play in DFS. I think I have them at least in one of my lineups against the Falcons. So, like as you mentioned, I mean, that defense is definitely a lot better when they have TJ Watt in the lineup, and he's going to play today.
All right. We got Pollard or Pirine.
I'm going to go with Pirine there. Again, top 12 running back for me this week. Not expecting Mixon to play. Tony Pollard, I still like him too. I think he's a solid RB2, but I'll lean with Pirine.
I love that Frank's on the same page with me as Pirine, but for this question, I might lean towards Tony Pollard in terms of, just his versatility. He's going to be going up against a defense that statistically may be top 10, but I don't think anybody views them as a top 10 defense. I'm leaning towards Tony Pollard with this question.
I'll go with Pirine. I hope as a guy who's starting Pollard that he didn't completely blow his chance at the goal line last week, or he had 2 shots against the Giants and couldn't get it done. And they were like, all right, let's bring in the old guy. And Zeke got in. So Pirine will have basically all of the work. That's a good one though. PPR, half PPR, this is another tough. Well, I'm going Pickens here. What do you guys think? Half PPR, Pickens or Zay?
I think this is a question of big upside with Pickens versus a solid floor with Zay Jones. I would expect more consistent targets from Zay in this matchup. A shootout again. I like Zay Jones, but it's really close. I do like both quite a bit.
That is a tough question. I don't know where I'm leaning when it comes to it. I'm going to go with George Pickens. He's been our player that we have a feeling about this week. I'm going to lean towards him.
Bum, 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 bum. I got a feeling. Yep, there it is. I'm going to play the music every time. Sanders or Rashad White? Zamir is Zonovan Knight? No, that's Knight, not White. I'm guessing that's Rashad White. Sanders, we should talk about the Bucks backfield here. All right, what's your answer, guys? Miles Sanders or Rashad White? Full PPR, and then I really don't even know what to expect. And the last time they played together, Fournette and White, Fournette through the first 3 quarters, or until his injury, had more work than White. So I would expect Rashad White to be better because he was so good last week with the 9 catches. But anyway, I don't know. This is very tough all around because I don't love Miles Sanders this week in full PPR. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, in full PPR, I'm leaning with Rashad White as well. It is a really close call. I think Sanders could be more efficient than Rashad White on the ground. Tougher matchup against Tennessee. I'm currently ranking the Bucs running backs with Rashad White seeing 60% of the work, Leonard Fournette probably seeing 40% of the work. So Rashad White is a mid to low end RB2 for me, and Fournette is more so like a middling flex.
I love Miles Sanders as a running back, but he's going against the number 3 run defense in the NFL and the Tennessee Titans, a team that always gets up for those big games. On the road, defensively, they've usually been very good as well. I'm going with Rachaad White in this one.
You think the Titans win this game?
I took the points. I'll put it that way. I think it's a close game. I'm not sure if they'll come out on top, but I'll go ahead and take the 5.5 points.
Okay. Jeremy's vote is the Speranos, which would be the old Dolphins head coach. This was a movie question here.
Adam,
yeah,
they made a movie, by the way. It came out recently.
Oh, you know what? I forgot about that. Was it good?
Yeah, it was all right. I mean,
it doesn't belong
nothing like the actual Sopranos. Actually,
man. Every time I see trilogy, it just Mike White, Brady or Goff. Oh, all right. I'm going Goff here.
I think I have all 3 of these ranked in a row. I do. Tom Brady is the top of them, but that just tells you where I'm at. I have him ranked much lower than I normally would. He's QB 17. He's struggled against the Saints in his Bucs career. There's still a chance Marshawn Lattimore might not play. He's questionable for this game. I lean with Brady, but slightest of margins.
We talked about Mike White being inconsistent. We're not exactly sure what he is just yet. Tom Brady, I really do like the Buccaneers to beat the Saints, just looking at where these two teams are at this juncture. But Tom Brady, as you mentioned, historically has really struggled against Dennis Allen. And we've talked about Jared Goff for the past few minutes. I really like this quarterback in this matchup against Jacksonville.
All right, we got some good news, everybody, from Adam Schefter. Raiders running back Josh Jacobs will play today. So that is good news. All right, you don't have to freak out about that lineup decision. I'm going to get my ass kicked this week. I just desperately need Joe Mixon back. It's just destroying me, and I'm going to have a real tough week. So this is about as happy as I'm going to be. It's been a horrible sports weekend so far. I'm not going to watch soccer for another 4 years. And that's not true. I'll watch all the international U.S. stuff, but that's like, 5 games in the next 4 years? The Knicks are terrible, Frank. I mean, they're just a joke.
When are they going to fire Tibbs? I mean, come on.
No, they don't need to fire Tibbs. They need to trade every player. It's not the coach's fault. Casino is better than Goodfellas. That's a good call. And I can tell you that without ever having seen the end of Casino. I've only seen about 2/3 of Casino, but it's better than Good. It's very long. So I'll get to that at some point.
How do you complain about Goodfellas and Casino, but then The Godfather you're okay with? That doesn't really make sense.
What do you mean?
Like, you're saying that they're so long and you can't get through them and that you're giving up on them early. Like, what do you watch 2 minutes of The Godfather and just quit?
I didn't give up. On Goodfellas. I just didn't like the ending of Goodfellas. The whole witness protection, but just the Ray Liotta stuff at the end I didn't like. Godfather's amazing. Casino was great. When I was watching it, I was at my parents' house. They have a satellite dish, and it started pouring, and the satellite went out, and I never finished Casino. But I intended to, so it wasn't like I consciously decided not to watch the end.
It's only been out since 1994. So.
I'll get around to it, Thomas. Did we answer this, Olave or Pittman?
Oh, very close. They're both low-end wide receiver 2s for me. I think I have Olave ranked just ahead of Pittman. I do, yeah. They're back-to-back. Olave's 1 spot higher. I think the upside is a little bit better for Chris Olave, so I'll go with him.
I think you nailed it. The upside is the thing that I'm really looking at here. Pittman's got a very tough matchup, but you look at Olave, his fantasy production has definitely dipped over the past few weeks, but at the same time, this guy has the potential to be a new number 1 wide receiver against Tampa Bay secondary, which is banged up as we've discussed. I like Chris Olave.
Who are we benching here? Jeff Wilson, Miles Sanders, or Christian Watson?
I am benching Jeff Wilson. I did lower him a little bit in the rankings once we knew for sure that Raheem Mostert would be back in this one. It is a really tough matchup. There is a revenge narrative for Jeff Wilson, but I don't really love him in this spot. He's more of a flex option this week than where he's been ranked at recently.
Man, I love Jeff Wilson. I think he was probably the most underrated trade deadline acquisition in the NFL. He's been great for Miami, but I mean, you brought it up. I mean, the 49ers defense is great. The Dolphins are operating without their 2 starting tackles. It's hard not to bench him at this juncture. I'm probably going to bench him.
Geno Smith or Jimmy Garoppolo? Geno.
Yeah, I'm going with Geno.
Geno all around. All right. James Robinson, Jamal Williams, or Damian Pierce? There's no need.
That might be Brian Robinson.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, that's an even tougher question then. Brian Robinson, Jamal Williams, or Damian Pierce?
Yeah, all three are ranked within 5 spots of each other for me, but Jamal Williams is just seeing massive workload, especially near the goal line, and that game should shoot out. It's inside of the dome, expecting a lot of points there. So I lean with Jamal Williams, but this one is super close.
I don't think Brian Robinson is projected to have a huge day, but my man had, 20 points last week? And have you noticed that Ron Rivera has basically tried to hand the job to this guy ever since he stepped in the door over Antonio Gibson? He seems like he's revving up, in my opinion. He might be a sleeper this week. I try to pick those guys in those spots before they start getting popular, and I feel like this could be a good week for him.
All right. Yeah, I was more optimistic when Gibson was, I thought maybe not going to play. Gibson's back this week. I don't know if Robinson catches a pass. I don't know if Jamal Williams, I don't know if any of these guys, they can combine for 3 catches, right? So that's not a part of it. Who's the most likely to score? It's Williams. But Robinson's not too far behind, and Robinson has the best matchup. Pierce has I
think Pierce has the best matchup, actually, but
Giants' run defense is so bad, but Pierce probably has a better matchup. Yeah. You know what, man? That's tough. I'm gonna go Jamal Williams.
Same.
Allen Lazard, Brian Robinson, or a Bucs running back have PPR.
I'm going with Rachaad White here, but again, really close with Brian Robinson. It wouldn't surprise me if Robinson sees more touches than someone like Rachaad White, but I just like the potential for catches better for a Rachaad White in the spot.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I hope the Bucs wisen up and see that Rachaad White's going to be the future. He should be the bell cow moving forward, in my opinion. I like him compared to those other 2 players.
What about Cop and a Half? You guys ever see Cop and a Half? Is that a gangster movie?
No. If Adam Sandler is not in it, I haven't seen it, Adam.
You guys didn't grow up on Cop and a Half?
No, I have no idea.
You're young for that? That was like some stupid kids movie. Never saw that? Man, I mean,
we can talk about like Kindergarten Cop if you want to, stick on the theme.
He's not he's not a gangster. Crisp, whatever his name is. What was the bad guy's name in that movie?
In Kindergarten Cop?
Is it Crisp?
That sounds right. Let's see.
What a weird, random actor that I've never seen in anything else.
That guy, he looks like a bad guy, though.
The
first time you see him, he instantly looks like a bad guy.
We got to get the cast up here. Well, it's 12:05. We are less than an hour away from the start of our games. We're going to update you on some news here. And, this is true. This is the big news. I've seen Cop and a Half about 20 times. I've never finished Casino. Yeah, that's bad. That's a bad look. If you're just joining us, no Chris Towers today. Jordan Dejani is joining us. Damn it! Is joining us instead. He's one of our NFL writers. He is the best dressed of us by far. Frank Stampaful is also here. I think I got that one right.
Yep.
And we are answering your questions until about 12:55. So Joe Mixon is unlikely to play. I have taken him out of my lineups. You should probably do the same. Josh Jacobs is going to play, according to Adam Schefter. I don't have him on any teams, which explains a lot about fantasy for me. But you should start him if you do. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton are both playing. That does not make either of them very, very desirable against a very good Ravens defense. Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers are both playing. Could be really good for both of them. Teron Armstead is out. That's starting left tackle for the Dolphins. So you can lower your expectations, but you're still probably starting Tua. Would you guys start Justin Fields or Tua Tagovailoa?
I would start Tua. I have him one spot higher than Justin Fields. Both are inside my top 7. So I think the upside is really high for both of them. I actually have a team where I'm debating Justin Fields and Deshaun Watson, but I do have Justin Fields in the lineup as of now.
Yep, I'm totally on Tua Tagovailoa as well. I mean, we all forget that this is a revenge game in some ways from Mike McDaniel as well. I think that this first-year head coach has some tricks up his sleeve to make up for the loss of those tackles. I think he's undervalued when you look at some of the projections. I'm rolling with Tua.
All right, so Rachaad White or Brandon Ayuk is the question here. And that brings us to Deebo Samuel. I don't think I've talked about it at all. Deebo Samuel is going to play, but reportedly going to play, but we haven't discussed it. And I like Ayuk better than Deebo. I just don't really want to start Deebo. I recognize the potential for a ton of points in this game, but you have questions about the health and you just have questions about the performance. It just hasn't been that good. But what's your question? What's your answer to this question, Rachaad White or Brandin Ayuk?
I think it's super close, but Brandin Ayuk has been so consistent, 65 yards or a touchdown in 6 straight games for him. So I lean with Ayuk over Rachaad White, and I also have Ayuk ranked higher than Deebo Samuel this week, Adam.
I'm glad you said that because it started to sound like we were all very high on Rachaad White, the way we've talked about him the past couple of minutes. But, I mean, Brandin Ayuk, as you mentioned, has been very consistent, and especially with Deebo Samuel being banged up, I think he's going to get 1 or 2 more touches than he usually does. I'm still leaning towards Rachaad White, but I'm trying to make my own projection in terms of the amount of touches he's going to get against the Saints.
Yeah, I'm not very high on Rachaad White. I would start him over Kamara. I would probably start Fournette over Kamara, and we haven't talked much about Alvin Kamara, but let's do that. He's facing the Bucs. On paper, their run defense hasn't been great this year, but when they've had Akeem Hicks and Vita Vea healthy at the same time, they've been pretty damn good against the run. They also, I think, allow the fewest receiving yards per game to running backs. It's just been a major strength for them this year. And you've got a Saints offense that is struggling. It's barely on the field. I can't tell you for sure that Kamara is their goal line guy because, first of all, they hardly ever get down there. I think he's probably their goal line guy. He fumbled right around the goal line last week. But you do have Mark Ingram back. You do have Taysom Hill always in the mix. So I know it's been a bit of a struggle for Kamara. I expect those struggles to continue. Frank, where do you have him ranked?
I have Kamara ranked as RB21, so lower than we're used to seeing him. You know, if everything's rolling for Kamara, he's normally a top 12 RB1 type. But again, low end RB2, I agree. I have him lower than Rachaad White. Over the past 5 games, Kamara's averaging 3.2 yards per carry, so they're not run blocking very well. He's not breaking off long runs. He has only scored in 1 game this season. Yeah. It seems like his overall production is better because he scored 4 touchdowns in that 1 game. But again, only 1 time this season. So 1 game this season. I'm a little bit lower on Kamara. He's a low-end RB2 for me.
We need some likes. Hit that like button, everybody, please. If we get to 300 likes, we'll give away a free month of Paramount Plus to somebody in our audience. We have over 1,200 people watching, and we have 180 likes. So please hit the like button. We got to get that ratio a little bit better. We also have 0 dislikes, which is good. So don't hit the dislike button, but it doesn't take long to click that little thumb. And let's get to 300, and we'll give away something cool, a free month of Paramount Plus. All right. Thank you for your help in that regard. Let's start to, and I don't know if Marshawn Lattimore is playing yet, unfortunately. I'm not sure if Jordan, if you know about that. I know he's questionable, trending in the right direction, but I'm not sure if he's playing. But Pittman, Evans, Zay Jones, pick 2 and half PPR.
I'm going with the first 2 here. I do really like the matchup for Zay, but these guys just have a much more proven track record. Pittman likely trailing, playing from behind. I think they're going to have to pass more in that matchup against the Cowboys. And Mike Evans, look, the Bucs still pass a decent amount, and Evans has, I think it's 9+ targets in, I don't know, something like 8 of his last 9 games. So he's still seeing a lot of work. He just hasn't scored a touchdown. I'll go with Pittman and Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans and Tom Brady have not been on the same page as of late, and I think it's something that head coach Todd Bowles actually talked about over the past week. But as you mentioned, the targets are there. He had 9 targets against the Browns, only 2 receptions for 31 yards. I feel like he could be a focal point in this matchup where they try to get him back on track and prepare for that stretch run in the NFC South. As for the other guy I would pick, I still like Zay Jones. As I mentioned, I think that, the Jaguars were able to build some confidence for themselves, especially when it came to the passing game. And Zay Jones was a humongous part of that. So give me Zay Jones over Pittman.
By the way, the guy who played Crisp in Kindergarten Cop has been in some movies. He was in Something About Mary. He was in Battlefield Earth, which, if you've never heard of that, it's regarded as arguably the worst movie ever. I would say it's up there. He was in Black Hawk Down, which was great. And those are his 4 big ones. So that's on me for not recognizing him from Battlefield Earth, I guess. You guys have never seen Battlefield Earth.
No. Is Adam Sandler in that one?
No, John Travolta is in it. If you want to watch the worst movie you've ever seen, which sometimes is fun, have a Battlefield Earth day. A Deshaun Watson question. Kirk Cousins or Deshaun Watson?
I have Watson 1 spot higher than Kirk Cousins. It wouldn't, look, if you want to go with Kirk because you think he's safer, I have absolutely no issue with that. We have no idea what to expect from Watson. He has not played a game in nearly 2 years. I think it's a fair matchup. There's no Derek Stingley in this one against for the Houston Texans defense. So I lean with Watson, but Kirk is probably safer.
I'm very scared of Deshaun Watson. I mean, this guy hasn't played football in like 2 years. His first game back is on the road, an emotional environment against his former team. I mean, that just makes me too scared to play him. And it's interesting because I'm looking at where the projections are in my league, and I think he's projected to be a top 3 quarterback, which is just something I don't agree with. So I'm going to have to go with Kirk Cousins here. Really intrigued to see how Deshaun Watson performs in his first game back. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm going with Kirk Cousins.
I just don't really love Cousins against the Jets, but I would go with Watson here. I mean, I feel like he's going to get you 20 points. It's just a matter like, will he go for 27? Will he throw another touchdown or something? Obviously, they're going to be able to run the ball. I get that. I'll go with Watson. Cousins is not one of the guys I'm excited about this week. Jeff Wilson Jr. or Isaiah Pacheco?
I am going to go with Isaiah Pacheco. Again, I'm a little bit lower on Jeff Wilson this week. It's a really, really tough matchup, and Raheem Mostert's going to play, so I think he'll steal some work away.
I'm not incredibly high on either back, but I'm with you, Frank. I'm going with Pacheco.
Pittman or Christian Watson?
I'm taking I think we got this earlier, and I said Pittman. It is really close. I think it's kind of a safety and a floor thing versus upside. I'll take Pittman, but it's really close.
You were wrong. Let's see, you were wrong earlier when you said Pittman. I was giving you a chance to change your answer to the right one.
Hey, I'm trying to stay consistent here, Adam. Come on.
I'm going Watson. Jordan's going Watson. Yeah, that's my man. Kamara. Oh, this is easy. P. Ryan.
Yep.
If Mixon somehow plays, then you can start Kamara.
Can you believe we're in December and we're talking about we want Samaje P. Ryan over Alvin Kamara? But yeah, I agree.
Welcome. Well, it's fantasy football, man. It's just crazy. Pickens, Watson, Palmer, Zay Jones. Now that's not easy. That's pretty easy for me, actually. Pick 2 in PPR. I'm going Watson and Palmer.
I am going to go with the same 2.
Definitely taking Christian Watson. Love Josh Palmer as a former Tennessee guy. Not sure I'm going to take him over Zay Jones and Pickens. Again, Pickens was our field guy. Zay Jones is someone I'm very high on as well. That's tough for me. I'm going to go with George Pickens and hope that he finally gets the looks that he's deserving of.
All right. Half PPR, big bonuses on 40-yard plays. Give me 2 wide receivers. Keenan Allen. I don't think he's going to have a 40-yard play. Olave, Christian Watson, or Garrett Wilson. Man, I don't know. Like I can't just project the guy to have a 40-yard play, so I'm eliminating that. Right. Half PPR, Frank, who are you going with?
I'm going with Keenan Allen and Garrett Wilson. They're both ranked inside my top 15 wide receivers this week. Obviously, we've been talking up Christian Watson, but Keenan Allen in a great environment there against the Las Vegas Raiders. Garrett Wilson, another one where I do think the targets are going to be pretty safe in that game. The Vikings defense has struggled against wide receivers, so I'll take Keenan Allen and Garrett Wilson.
Man, I was wondering when Garrett Wilson was going to pop up here on the questions. This is another guy that I'm very high on this week. I love Garrett Wilson. I think that this Jets offense has found new life. I don't know if Mike White's a franchise signal caller, but at the same time, he's been able to unlock this wide receiving core. We already talked about Christian Watson, but I like Garrett Wilson a lot this week.
I like Jordan because he likes the Jets. So let's just get that on record. Let's go. Garrett Wilson, Bam Knight, big weeks for both of them. Let's go Jets.
They're my second favorite team, Frank.
Second favorite team in New Jersey?
No, that's my second favorite team. I root for the Jets.
Oh, well, that sounds like a problem for you because I am 100% a Giants hater. I never want them to do anything good, so I'm sorry.
That's pathetic. They're not even your rival. You have 3 teams in your division to root for. Look who asked us a question.
Hey, look at the hair on that guy.
I know. Who is that guy? Pacheco, Bucks running back, or Zonovan Knight?
I am going to go with Rachaad White of that group. He's, ranked a little bit higher than those.
Wait a second. I got to interrupt you. Oh. Chris, how do you not put the format in? I mean, you've been doing this is week 13. You don't even tell us the scoring format. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. I don't even know who Christopher Towers is. Anyway, this is an imposter. This is a bogus account. All right, Frank, you said Rachaad White?
Yeah, I'm going with Rachaad White. Again, I'm projecting that a 60-40 split in favor of Rachaad White. I think he gets somewhere in the range of 15 touches, and that should be enough to pay off here.
I really want to start Knight. I really do, but I think I'm leaning towards Rachaad White as well.
I will go with Pacheco. If it's half or non. If it's full PPR, I'll go with Rachaad White. And Chris, just be a man and and give her your answer, and they don't have to listen to us. We don't want to come in. We don't want to interfere with your marriage here. But we'll see you tonight, Chris Towers. Reservoir Dogs is Frank's favorite gangster movie. That's a good one.
Is Adam Sandler in that one?
Why is that? Why?
Because the thing on the baseball side is that I've only seen Adam Sandler movies, so they just make fun of me for that all the time.
Okay. I listened to your bonus podcast about DeGrom.
What'd you think? I mean, he's really good. It doesn't really change much for his value. So
well, what I thought was I had no idea who that guy. I don't even remember his name. That pitcher on the Braves that had like 200 strikeouts and 120 innings or something or whatever.
Spencer Strider. No idea who that is.
Nah, I never heard of him.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, apparently. All right, sit one. Ooh, man, this is tough.
Oh gosh. I mean, the way I have it ranked is I'm ranking Jamar Chase a little bit lower than I normally would, just on the off chance he doesn't get a full complement of snaps. I think he's still going to run a decent amount of routes. I think T. Higgins is going to be on the field more than him. So I would go with Lamb and Higgins, but man, it feels dirty benching Jamar Chase.
Yeah, a couple of things. I don't like stacking Bengals in this scenario. And the other part is I think CeeDee Lamb could be primed for a big outing. Not that he's going to get 12 targets, but he's going to have success against this Colts secondary, in my opinion. So as you mentioned, Jamar Chase, in most leagues, he's going to be started. But when you're sitting pretty at wide receiver like this guy Frank N is, I'm going to go with T. Higgins over Jamar Chase.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I like Higgins over Chase. It's just a matter of Chase versus Lamb. This would be a week where I would love to stack Bengals because, I see, obviously, I think we all see a high scoring game here. On the off chance that the Cowboys just blow out not that off of a chance, right? They just blow out the Colts and throw 25 times and Lamb gets 7 targets. I'm going to start both Bengals here. I don't think there's a wrong answer, though. You're in good shape. This is from Chad Lawrence Powers. Devontae Smith, Sutton, Jamar Chase, Christian Watson. We need 2. And then Herbert or Lawrence. All right, I think we should all just Herbert, right? Herbert?
Yeah, Herbert over Lawrence for me. I like both. They're both inside my top 7, but
yeah. All right. I mean, that's true, but Herbert for me. And all right, two wide receivers here, guys.
Gonna go with Jamar Chase, and I think Watson versus Smith is really close. I think they're kind of similar, boom or bust wide receivers. But man, Watson's been boom for 3 weeks in a row, so I'll go with him and Chase.
I love Devontae Smith. I don't know if I'm going to pick him in this scenario. We talked about Christian Watson, who I like this week. In this instance, I'm going to take Jamar Chase, but I'll throw you a curveball, guys. On the quarterback question, I might lean towards Trevor Lawrence in this matchup. We talked about him throwing the ball confidently against a bad defense. I love Justin Herbert. He's my quarterback in Dynasty, but Trevor Lawrence might be a play here.
Yeah, I do like Lawrence, but Herbert's going to throw the ball a lot against the bad defense too. Running a little bit more lately. I don't know. They both should be great. That's why you're asking. Most weeks you're not asking Herbert or Lawrence. I get that. You're in good shape there. I think it's two Herberts and 1 Lawrence. Fields or Watson?
I have Fields ranked higher than Watson. I have that same exact dilemma on one of my teams, and I'm going with Justin Fields.
I'm not in love with either, as I've probably talked about, but I'm going to lean towards Justin Fields in this scenario.
We got to 300 likes, by the way, so we're going to give away something in a second here. I don't know, Frank, if you saw we have a little private chat going on if you saw the question, but Schaefer wanted to know if you've ever seen Jack and Jill with Adam Sandler.
No, anything that's come out after Click, I haven't seen from Adam Sandler. So,
yeah, Jack and Jill looked like it was worse than Battlefield Earth. I would not waste my time on Jack and Jill.
Did not see the Hubie Halloween or whatever that is either. So,
I feel like I did see that.
What about the one where he's the gambler? He's gambling.
I did see
that movie.
I did see that. It was great. It was great. Uncut Gems. It was awesome.
I don't know why people didn't like that movie. I thought it was an amazing movie. I will never watch it again. It was one of the most intense experiences. Honest to God, there were 2 movies where I walked out of there like, that was great. I'm never going to watch it again. It was Black Swan. I don't know if you saw that. And Uncut Gems. Just uncomfortable the entire time. But
it gave me so much anxiety watching that movie.
I
think you can throw Go ahead, Chafee.
Adam Sandler's kind of making a resurgence with his career. He just had that basketball movie too. I forgot what it was called, but that one was solid too.
Yeah, people liked it.
Yeah, I actually didn't watch it. I've heard really good things though. I would like to check it out.
Jordan, give me your top 3 Adam Sandler movies.
Oh, geez. Well, I'm gonna have to get my list up. But I was laughing because Frank cracks me up because I'm the same way. Like, I'm not a movie buff at all. Any conversation about movies, I'm gonna go completely silent. But if it's Adam Sandler, then I've probably seen it. So, I mean, I love. Man, it's hard. Waterboy obviously is going to be one. I know that's stereotypical.
Wait, whoa. No, everybody says either Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore are number one.
Those would be my other two.
Okay.
Those would be my other two. In terms of ranking it, my number one, I'm not sure 100% about that. I don't know what my number one would be, but Waterboy is definitely in the top three in my opinion.
All right, that's a good top three. It's a good top three.
Waterboy is amazing. It is so great. But
it's pretty good.
I guess I would say that about any Adam Sandler movie.
Antonio Gibson or Jalen Warren in non-PPR?
I'm going to go with Gibson here. Looks like I think he's good to go. I know he was questionable coming into the week, but it's a great matchup going up against the Giants. I think he gets probably somewhere in like 10 to 12 touches, which should be okay for like double-digit. Actually, in non-PPR, not double-digit points, but I think he'll be better than Warren.
Yeah, I don't love either of these guys, but I'm going with Antonio Gibson as well. I already talked about Brian Robinson. He's one of those guys I have a feel for this week, but still going to lean towards Gibson over Jalen Warren with Najee Harris not having any kind of game designation.
And Gibson, Swift, or Brian Robinson in full PPR? I think we can go Robinson here.
I'm going with the Brob.
Yeah, I'm going B-Rob.
All right, Gus Edwards, Pacheco, Pirine, Najee, and Patterson. Oh, good. I'm glad you can pick two here. Pirine and Najee for me.
Same.
Definitely Pirine. Gonna lean towards Najee with you guys.
All right. I mean, in non-PPR, actually, Gus Edwards is not far from Najee, so that's another guy you could go for. Pick a flex: Garrett Wilson, Alvin Kamara, Jeff Wilson, Toney Pollard. Ooh, all right. It comes down to Pollard and Garrett Wilson, right, guys?
Yeah, I think it's really close with both of those. I lean with Garrett Wilson. We've seen with Ezekiel Elliott back, and he's getting basically all of the red zone work. So coming in and vulturing touchdowns, I think Garrett Wilson has a little bit of a better role here with Mike White at quarterback. So I'll take him.
The Jets are flying high. No more turbulence after the Zach Wilson benching. Really do like Garrett Wilson in this week.
How about this one? Jalen Warren, Kyron Williams, Traylon Burks, Jameson Williams, and Alan Lazard. Save the best for last, in my opinion.
Full PPR. I lean with Alan Lazard.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling I know where Jordan's going to go.
No, I think you're actually incorrect. I'm leaning towards Lazard. Traylon Burks is a very interesting matchup, like we talked about. Jameson Williams, by the way, is a guy that I would not be playing this week. I mean, unless you're in a dire situation and he's coming off of your IR, that's exciting. But I think we all should realize he's going to be on a limited snap count. Don't expect some fantasy explosion coming back off of that torn ACL. 11 months removed from that injury. So, yeah, I'll lean towards Alan Lazard.
Yeah. And Frank, you know nothing about Jordan, so. You don't know.
Hey, I knew he likes the Jets this week, so that's all I need.
He likes the Jets, what, straight up?
No, I don't know about it. I know he likes Garrett Wilson and Bam. I
Yeah.
actually bet the Jets +3, but maybe I'm a homer.
Have I won 2 bets in a row now?
Oh, Adam, please bet the Vikings.
No, I'm on a streak here. I don't think you want that. See, I bet Utah. That was cool. And let's see. I'll see if I can. I think I won 2 in a row. I think I'm on a heater. Let's see. Christian Kirk or Garrett Wilson? Ooh, how much do we like Garrett Wilson? And Kamara or Rashad White? This is non-PPR.
All right, let's check this out.
Yeah, I won 2 in a row. Bills -3.5 and Utah +3.
Nice.
Crushed them.
I have Christian Kirk just over Garrett Wilson. I like both a lot. They're inside my top 15 wide receivers. I just absolutely love that game between the Lions and Jaguars for fantasy today. So I lean with Christian Kirk, and then I will take Rashad White over Alvin Kamara.
Give me Garrett Wilson over Christian Kirk. That's not a lean. That's a straight up pick. As for Alvin Kamara, Rashad White, that's tough. I mean, if you have Kamara, there's a 99% chance you're going to start him, even though he's been disappointing over the past few weeks, like we've discussed. I'm still leaning towards Rashad White. I think that we're just kind of willing this into existence in terms of the touches he may get, but I still think I like the upside there with Rashad White.
And just so you know, I wasn't bragging, Jordan. I had lost 9 straight bets before my 2 in a row. So we're just celebrating a little bit.
I was just impressed because I was picking the other two sides of those bets that you laid out on the table. So congrats.
Well, I got a little lucky with Utah with Caleb Williams getting hurt. But Burrow or Fields and Pierce, Swift or Jeff Wilson?
Yeah, I'm taking Joe Burrow in this one. Great game environment going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Remember what Burrow did last year against the Chiefs, just absolutely massive performance. And then for the running backs, I am going to go with Dameon Pierce.
I'm going with Joe Burrow, no doubt about it. I actually made the Bengals a best bet to upset the Chiefs over at CBSSports.com in my column. Not as 100% as confident without Joe Mixon in the lineup, but still like Pirine, still like that upset. As for the running backs, man, that's pretty tough. I'm going to go with Dameon Pierce here, the rookie out of Florida. Really like him in his running style.
Yeah, man, what's the spread on that game, the Bengals game?
Last time I checked, I mean, it was only a couple points. I think I got it at +2.
2.5 now. Yeah, I mean they could easily win that game. I can't wait for that. Let's see. Can we get Kamara in here? Do we like him better than Patterson or Evans? Who's our 2 in PPR?
I am going to sit Patterson of this group.
Yeah.
100%. Yep, I'm 100% agree. Like I said, I think Mike Evans is a guy that they're going to try to get back on track, and Kamara's Kamara. So hopefully he bounces back.
We need a tight end. Dulcich, Jelani Woods, he's out. Bellinger or one of the Bucks guys?
Don't love any of these, but I think I would still go with Greg Dulcich. He's playing a lot of snaps. He's running a lot of routes. He is just not being targeted, which I guess you could say the same thing about the entire Broncos offense. Just looks dreadful right now, but I lean with Dulcich. Don't really like any of them.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know that Jelani Woods is out, actually. Unfortunately, it's a Sunday night game.
Yeah, he's questionable.
He's questionable. I thought he was out. He's not. So, yeah, you said Dulcich?
Yep.
I love that we got a Daniel Bellinger mention here in the chat. He's a guy that I'm excited to start, but at the same time, I mean, not in terms of his upside when it comes to fantasy points, but in terms of the player he was. Before he suffered that eye injury, I think he had at least 2 performances of double-digit outings. It's curious. It's interesting to see if he still has that double vision, if he's 100% healthy. I am down bad when it comes to the tight end position in fantasy football. I'm deciding between Akins with the Texans and Daniel Bellinger. So I'm kind of leaning towards Bellinger depending on Jelani Woods' availability. I love Dulcich, the player, but obviously the scheme that he's in and his quarterback are not very favorable. So Woods if he's healthy, but Bellinger if he's not.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Akins, I'm glad you brought him up because without Brandin Cooks, that could be 3 extra targets for Akins or something. Look, Akins could easily go out there and have a 0. And Bellinger could, I don't think he's going to have a 0, but Bellinger could have a 3 fantasy point game or something like that. He could have 1 catch for 20 yards,
So who should I start?
I would go with Akins.
Yeah, I kind of like that call too.
Yeah, I think Bellinger has some touchdown potential though, because like they get him involved in the red zone, and I think he's pretty much back. I would expect a pretty big snap count from him. But I would go with Akins because I feel like Bellinger's going to be touchdown or bust. Go ahead, Frank.
No, I think it's a pretty sneaky call on Jordan Akins. There's no Brandin Cooks in that game today. He's out with a calf injury, and we saw 5 targets last week. First game with Kyle Allen as the quarterback. So I think he could lean on Jordan Akins. So yeah, I don't mind it as like a really deep desperation play.
Right. Well, that's tight end for you.
Yeah.
Jeff Wilson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or are you feeling
it? Not feeling it, and I'm gonna go with Jeff Wilson. But I kind of like Peoples-Jones too. That one's closer, but I like Jeff Wilson.
I kind of like Peoples-Jones, maybe even more than Amari Cooper in this spot. I feel like he could be a sneaky play. We talked about Jeff Wilson a bit. I love Jeff Wilson, but he's in a very tough spot. I'm leaning towards DPJ when it comes to this question.
Jordan, are you going with DPJ because they're on the road and Amari Cooper can't sleep and he plays poorly on the road?
Yeah, that's part of it. But Amari Cooper's been balling out over the past couple of weeks. I think he had 31 points PPR against Buffalo a couple of outings ago. At the same time, new quarterback, new chemistry on the road. We don't know how Deshaun Watson's going to look. Peoples-Jones might have a better performance than Amari Cooper. Very interested to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper, of course, was in a neutral site road game when he went nuts. In the true road games that he's played has been horrible, but none of us really buy it. It's just kind of feel like it's fluky. Throughout his career, he's always been better at home than on the road, but not to this degree. Noah Fant or Jelani Woods, Kareem Hunt or Jaylen Warren?
Well, I think the Seahawks play in the afternoon today, so you're not going to know if Jelani Woods is active. If we knew he was, I would go with Jelani Woods, but I think if you want to play it safe, just go with Noah Fant. And then with the running back, I'll go with Jaylen Warren.
I'm playing it safe with Fant as well, but I'm going to actually go with Kareem Hunt in this matchup. I mean, the Texans are obviously very bad. I don't know what the game script's going to look like, but maybe Hunt gets a couple more touches than he's averaging at this point.
I think if you want the option of Jelani Woods, then you should drop Noah Fant for Cade Otton, which probably won't work. Or you could even go with Adam Troutman, which could be interesting with Juwan Johnson out. Juwan Johnson is out, right? That one I'm not making up?
Yeah, he is. I think that's probably the right play, Adam. So if you have Jelani Woods, pick up Adam Troutman now, and then if Woods is active, just play him. If not, just go with Adam Troutman.
Yeah, because Fant's not really giving you much. We need one. Ooh, it's gonna be tough. Oh no, we did this one already. I think it was a Garrett Wilson or Pollard. It was close between them.
Yeah.
Start Jeff Wilson or DeAndre Swift. That was a question.
I'm going with Jeff Wilson. I know I've kind of been talking him down, but DeAndre Swift's workload is so small right now. Like he's getting single-digit carries and a few targets per game. I wish he was playing more. It seems like he's healthy. I don't really know why. Maybe there's something going on behind the scenes, but I'll lean with Jeff Wilson there.
I like DeAndre Swift as a running back, but I'm virtually terrified of him in terms of a fantasy play. So I'm going with Jeff Wilson as well.
Chris Olave or Christian Watson?
I've got Olave a few spots higher. That is a really close call, though.
It's so funny because I actually had to make this decision in one of my leagues, Olave or Watson, and I lean towards Watson. Frank, are you telling me I made the wrong decision?
Yeah, Frank. What are you telling him?
Nope. I don't want to be involved in this. If I get the question wrong, I know where you're coming back and say, it was Frank's fault. He's the reason why. But I do.
I would go Watson over Olave personally,
but Adam hates Olave, so it's.
I've been pretty right about Olave. I've nailed it with Olave.
He's only a top 20 wide receiver.
No, I think he's good. I think he's basically a top 20 wide receiver, but close to 20. And I just
you had him as the top rookie wideout at this stage in the season.
No, my initial pick was after the draft was Christian Watson. I obviously backed off of that, but I feel a little vindicated. But no, during draft season, I didn't really like that many of them. Who was my favorite? It was probably Drake London, because Treylon Burks was dealing with the asthma. I really drafted very little of the rookie wide receivers, but I have Olave on more teams than anyone else. I have Olave and Watson on 2 teams.
Nice.
But Watson was an ad in both those. He's not a draft pick. Oh, hey. I think you're muted.
We are. Hello.
Dave, Kamara or Cooper?
I'm going to take Amari Cooper. I'm scared of Kamara this week. I got this gut feeling that he's going to absolutely suck.
Oh,
really buy into this Bucs
defense.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this one. All 3 of you. Garoppolo, Carr, or Goff? Pick a quarterback.
I've got Derek Carr just inside my top 12, so I'm going with him.
Oh, Frank, I'm going to let you guess Jordan's answer because I think we might be able to get this.
I'm going to say that Jordan's taking Jared Goff.
Yeah, that's my guess too.
Ding, ding, ding. You guys are correct. I'm leaning with Jared Goff in this instance. I think he's kind of set up for a big week. And I know that Jameson's not going to ball out in his first NFL action, but I think he's bringing some kind of energy, some good juju, some confidence with this offense. Goff has been kind of, I don't want to say rolling as of late, but he's been a sneaky play. So I think I don't think anyone would be surprised if he was the best quarterback in terms of that trio with the fantasy outing this week.
See, Adam, I told you I knew Jordan.
Yeah, we all do. Lazard, Patterson, or Edwards?
I'm going with Gus Edwards there.
In non-PPR, it's easy to go with Edwards. I think I'm going to go with Edwards even in full PPR. Lazard's really close.
I agree. Lazard would be my number 2. I would go with Edwards as my number 1, though.
All right, next question. We need 3 receivers. Lazar's, Watson, DeAndre Carter, Sutton, and Pittman Jr.
This is one where I'll use Lazar's. I'll go with him along with Watson. So we're going to go heavy on the Packers with Pittman. I think Pittman can get you north of 15 PPR this week because the Colts are going to have to throw a lot against the Cowboys. And the Cowboys allow the 5th highest catch rate to wide receivers on targets inside of 15 yards. And we know that Matt Ryan doesn't throw farther than 15 yards very often.
Yeah, complete agreement with Dave's there. I'm going with the Packers and Michael Pittman.
Pittman.
I like Christian Watson, maybe a little over Allen Lazard, but Pittman Jr. is a guy we've been talking a ton about. And I think that in all the scenarios we brought up, we haven't picked him. I'm going to pick him in this instance. I agree with Dave.
Wait, so Dave and Frank, you like Lazar's better than Watson?
No.
No. You're going with both. Okay, I'm sorry. My bad.
They went with both.
Okay. Go Pack, go. Gerald Everett or Foster Morrow?
I've had this question a few times earlier today, too. I don't really like the way things are trending with Gerald Everett. Maybe that's with Keenan Allen back. I know his snaps and his routes have been down a little bit. Foster Morrow is on the field a lot. So I'll go with him in that same game. I think there's a lot of points on both sides.
Who's most likely to score? The tight end that's sharing the field with 3 good targets that the quarterback trusts, or the tight end that's sharing the field with 1 really good target, and then a couple of peripheral guys that are just very hit or miss, but on a team that runs the ball a little bit more? I think I'm going to lean Morrow.
Foster Moreau for me as well.
All right. PPR, wide receiver and a flex. A running back, a wide receiver and a flex. We got Najee, Pacheco, and Bam Knight. Pick one.
Najee.
Yep, I'm going Najee as well.
Bam Knight.
Pick a wide receiver. Mike Evans, Sutton, Palmer, or Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Potentially controversial answer here, but I will go with Mike Evans.
Same.
I don't think that's controversial at all. Yeah. I'm interested in DPJ, like we kind of talked about. Love Josh Palmer as a former Tennessee guy. I'm pretty out on Sutton, but yeah, I think Mike Evans can have really a bounce back performance where he catches more of his 9 targets instead of just 2.
I'm going to start Palmer over him, but I'm going to start Evans at the flex. So I'd go Najee, Palmer, and Evans.
Same.
Everything okay, Dave? Something more interesting outside?
No. I've got a lot of stuff going on, and I thought I heard something outside of our little echo chamber.
No, that's okay. Whatever you need, buddy. Let's go to the next question here. Gangster movie is the best is Menace to Society. I don't think I've seen that one
too.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Pick 3: Waddle, Chase, Pittman, Olave, and London.
I'm sitting London and Pittman.
I think, Olave versus Pittman is really close, but I would go with Waddle, Chase, and Olave. Yeah.
That's a clean sweep.
All right. Jeff Wilson or Brian Robinson in non-PPR?
I've got Jeff Wilson a little bit lower this week. I'm going to go with Brian Robinson.
We know that Raheem Mostert's going to play. We know that offensive line could be a potential liability. I think the way the Dolphins are going to work around that is with quick game passing and with Tua getting on the move. I don't see them doing a lot of their I think they're going to try and do some outside zone, but I think the 49ers are going to be very prepared for it. They practice against it every day. So I'm sitting Wilson almost across the board in my leagues.
You guys are absolutely right. I like Brian Robinson in this spot. As I've talked about, I feel like Ron Rivera's really just been trying to give this guy the starting job. And then, of course, he had that very unfortunate circumstance happen in the preseason. Had a great outing last week. I'm expecting the same thing here on Sunday.
All right. Oh, let's see. We've done that one like a million times. Oh, this is a good one. Pittman or Kamara, PPR?
I'm going to go with Pittman in full PPR.
Yeah, I'm banking on the matchup. I'm discouraged by the Saints offensive line. I'm discouraged by how Kamara's been playing in tough matchups. He'll turn it around next week. Matchups get easier after this week. Pittman.
I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to lean towards Kamara here. Hopefully he bounces back. We've talked about it plenty over the past few minutes. He's been disappointing. But I'm going to go with Kamara. I think that the Saints know they have to get him back on track, and he's going to do so in prime time.
Hey, Dave, who's your bum, 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 I got a feeling player of the week?
You're setting me up to say that Kamara is a bust is my I've got a feeling player of the week?
No. My I've got a feeling player of the week is George Pickens. I just have a good feeling about him. I think Jordan's is Bam Knight. Frank, I don't know who Frank's is. I'm not interested.
Why wouldn't you care about Frank's?
I'm interested. Who is it?
Okay, I've got one. Lamar Jackson.
Really?
Who had his receivers drop 3 touchdowns last week. He wasn't good overall. He missed some throws. But I have a feeling that he actually bounces back in a major way.
Frank, who you black-eyed peasing it with?
I said Nico Collins earlier. No Brandin Cooks. I think he could be in for double-digit targets potentially in a pretty good matchup. So I do like Nico Collins. I'll throw Kyren Williams out there too as like a lower-end flex. Probably get somewhere in the range of like 15-plus touches. And not sure what he's going to do with them, but I do like the opportunity and the volume there.
Would you guys start Bam Knight or Allen Lazard half PPR?
Bam!
I think I'd go with Knight.
Oh, Knight? All right, fine. It's my lineup. I just,
That's okay. Sometimes you got to ask.
I needed help. All right, let's go back to the people here. Gus Edwards, Rachaad White, or Cordarrelle Patterson, half PPR?
I think it's super close. Yeah, I think it's really close with Rachaad White and Gus Edwards, but I lean with Rachaad White.
I'm going to go with Rachaad White as well.
I think there's a chance that Fournette doesn't do a whole lot, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Oh, never mind. Did we learn anything about Joe Mixon, Dave, on FFT other than we already know?
Not expected to play.
All right. Yeah.
I will not have him in my lineup if you've got another human being on your bench that you could start over.
Pollard or Zeke? And then do you start the other one over Olave, Brian Robinson, Ayuk, or Gus Edwards?
I would go with Pollard over Zeke. And then, I think I would just go with both Cowboys, honestly. Half PPR.
Olave's got so much more upside. And one of the things I like about the matchup for Olave is that the Bucs safety core is just so beat up right now that there's chances downfield. Those guys, if they make one mistake in coverage, Dalton can hit Olave deep. I think there's too much upside to sit Olave for Zeke.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. I of course agree with Pollard over Zeke. When it comes to Olave, I want to take a flyer on him this week. He's been one of my favorite rookies in the NFL this season, and it's funny because the Saints had the number 3 offense just a month ago or so, and things have really taken to a down spiral. I wonder if against an opponent they've historically had success against, maybe they can get back on the right track. Olave is a player I would take a flyer on.
All right, let's fly. Lazard, Patterson, or Gus Edwards?
The Gus bus.
I got my bus fare as well.
All right, guys, I got to run. I got to do FFT. Check it out on CBS Sports HQ and enjoy the best week of football of the 2022 season.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it, Dave. Thank you, Dave Richard. When was the last time you guys actually were on a bus?
Oh, man.
Jeez. No idea.
It's been a long time.
I think I was on a party bus last year for my 30th birthday. So
my bachelor party then was the last time I was on a bus. Yep. Okay. It was more like a shuttle. It was pretty embarrassing, but it's okay. Miles Sanders or Kyren Williams?
I don't like Kyren Williams that much. I'm still going to go with Miles Sanders. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that you brought up Kyren as a sleeper, but it's hard to bench Sanders compared to him.
Lockett or Garrett Wilson?
I like both a lot, but I think Garrett Wilson has more upside. Lockett's actually kind of been touchdown dependent. He's scored in 4 straight games, but the yardage hasn't been massive for him or anything. So I'll go with Garrett Wilson, but I do like both.
This one's really tough to me because I think this is a great get-right spot for the Seattle Seahawks, but Jets.
Now, look at this guy. Man, trying to make a best friend over there. I think it's working. Justin Fields or Justin Herbert, and the word on Mixon is to sit him. He is unlikely to play, and yes, you should play Dameon Pierce over him. Fields or Herbert, guys?
It's Herbert for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I forgot to give away the Paramount Plus month, so let's do that now. Comment your Twitter handles right now in our YouTube chat, and we're giving away a free month of Paramount Plus. But there's still time to hit the like button. We're at 420 right now. We've got almost 1,400 people watching. So if you could just hit that like button, if we get up to 600, we'll give away another free month of Paramount Plus. Please hit that like button so we can win the internet. But yes, comment your Twitter handle right now, and we will give away a free month of Paramount Plus, which is freaking great. And when that free month expires, you're going to keep it because it is definitely the best streaming service. It's just awesome. All right, Gus Edwards or Bam Knight?
I think Jordan and I might actually disagree on this one, but I'm going to go with Gus Edwards against the Broncos.
Nope. I think you're muted. Come on back, Jordan. I know what he was going to say. He was going to say Bam Knight. All right, we'll go to the next one while I can unmute you, I think, on my end. I think. No, I can't. Your mic is not connected. All right, you can work on that. We'll get you back. All right, we need some big names here. Oh, here's just a pro tip. Caps lock, not a fan. It's kind of hard to read. So, Miss Riss, your question is, pick 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. McCaffrey, Barkley, Pirine. Oh, my gosh. Are you going to sit Barkley for Pirine?
No. I'm still going with the top 2 running backs there. And then, oh, man, this is a great problem to have. I'm going to go with A.J. Brown and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then full PPR.
They have 2 St. Browns listed there. I wouldn't start EQ St. Brown.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah.
All right, I'd start the 3 running backs and I'd sit Kirk.
Yeah, that's the way I was going.
Although my gut is telling me to sit Saquon Barkley.
Well, you're just a self-deprecating Giants fan.
No, I look, he's playing the Commanders. They have arguably the best run. I mean, I think the Niners have the best run defense. The Commanders are right up there. He's not really catching that many passes, about 3 a week. I feel like that's going to change this week. I think they're going to get him very involved in the passing game. That's just the gut feeling, though. And I love everybody else on this list. Jordan Magacha, you back?
Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yes, you are back.
All right. Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm surprised we haven't talked about this guy yet. I think he's a sneaky play. I think he's in both of my DFS lineups as well. I made the critical mistake of betting the under on his receptions on Thanksgiving and lost some money. I think that this guy is in for some high targets. I think he's one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. I'm not scared of the Jaguars secondary. I really like Amon-Ra St. Brown this week. Oh, yeah, he's a no-brainer, but we have to sit one of these guys between McCaffrey, Barkley, Pirine, A.J. Brown, St. Brown, and Kirk. I'm gonna sit begrudgingly Kirk, but my gut tells me to sit Barkley, but I'll sit Kirk. I'm sitting Kirk as well. All right, we're all sitting Kirk then. McLaurin or Watson?
I'm still going with McLaurin. His target share since forgetting his name right now, quarterback for Washington, Heineke took over, has been massive. So I'm still going to go with Terry McLaurin over Christian Watson. Heineke is McLaurin's best friend. I mean, McLaurin does absolute great work when Carson Wentz is not in the lineup. So McLaurin is a sure thing. I start him virtually every week. I love Christian Watson, but I'm not going to bench Terry McLaurin for him.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like McLaurin, I have some issues with Terry McLaurin because this is a team that's probably going to throw about 28 to 30 times most weeks. That's about 7 targets for Terry McLaurin. You look at his yards the last 4 games, 56, 128, 55, 48. He's caught 2 touchdowns all year. I think he has 2 green zone targets the entire season. So I am also going with McLaurin. I do think he'll do very well against this depleted Giants secondary, but he's a little bit on red alert for me. If there's another game, it's not his fault. It's just that they are winning every week. They are playing great defense and they are running the ball so much. So I anticipate basically all 3 of those things to happen this week. I think they're going to win a low-scoring game and run the ball. I will, however, I still there's a little bit of risk with Watson. You know, he's not a sure thing just yet, even against the Bears. So I'll go with McLaurin. All right, we need a standard scoring flex. Mike Evans, Josh Palmer, and Kyron Williams. Palmer for me, but I think I'm the only one.
I'm going with Evans.
I'm going to go with Mike Evans as well.
Do you know that in the Marshawn Lattimore era, he has scored more than 14 PPR fantasy points once in like 9 games or something like that?
Wow.
I just don't know if Lattimore's playing. It would be an easier call if Lattimore were playing. Fields or Geno?
I believe I have these guys back-to-back with Fields 1 spot higher.
I'm going to go with Geno, actually. Like I said, I think this could be a get-right spot for the Seattle Seahawks. And Gino's not exactly been balling, I don't think, over the past couple of weeks from a fantasy perspective, but this is a week that he can do that.
He's been pretty good. He doesn't have the flashiest numbers, but he comes through basically every week. He always gets his 2 touchdowns. Watson, Fields, or Lamar Jackson?
I am going.
I go Fields over Gino. I go Fields over all these guys.
Yeah, I have Fields over Lamar, but it is close. Fields at 7, Lamar at 9.
I'll go with Lamar.
Okay. Brady or Garoppolo?
Garoppolo. Yeah.
That's tough. I'll probably lean towards Jimmy G as well.
All right. D has one of these crazy good teams. We got to sit 2 of these players. Sanders is an easy sit. I'm going to sit Sanders and Cook.
I am going to sit Etienne and Sanders.
That's my answer as well. Etienne and Sanders to the bench.
Why Etienne and not Cook? Cook's facing the Jets, tougher defense. Is it the health thing for Etienne? Because, he got the Lions and he's been a freaking stud.
Yeah, that's partially it. Dealing with the foot injury for Etienne and Cook's workload has been massive. He's seeing a ton of targets right now. I think he had 10 or 12 red zone opportunities back in week 12. So the workload's just too good for Dalvin Cook.
Oh, I didn't even realize the targets. 5 targets in 4 of his last 5 games, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. Okay. Etienne or Pirine?
It's Pirine for me.
Ooh, that is a really tough decision. I'm going to go with Pirine.
And Pirine is so safe. I think of Pirine as Mixon, right? It's not like Mixon has been so great this year, carrying the ball. He just gets so many touches and so many carries. Any question about Pirine, he is Joe Mixon. There's really no drop off to me. So I'm going Pirine here. Terry McLaurin or Zay Jones?
Terry.
I'm going to go with Terry as well.
Oh, man, I'm 20 minutes behind on the comments here. Let me get the new ones up. All right, we got a few minutes left. We're going to go rapid fire here. Brian Robinson or Damian Pierce, PPR?
I'm still going with Pierce, but that is a really close call.
Give me B-Rob.
Yeah, I'll go Robinson too, but it is very close. Patterson, Pierce, Edwards, Pacheco, Fournette, Warren. We need 3 in PPR.
Okay, we're going to go with Pierce, Edwards, and Pacheco.
I think that's my 3 as well.
Pierce, Edwards, Pacheco. Yeah, I could get behind that. I have never seen Tulsa King. I have no thoughts. I would like to see it, though. Gus, McKinnon, Kyron Williams, and then Pittman, Slayton, or Collins. So we need a running back and then one of those last 3.
Going with Gus Edwards, and then I'm going to flex Michael Pittman.
We're probably all in agreement with the running back, I'm going to assume, with Gus. Flex, I'm going to lean towards Michael Pittman as well.
Yeah, all in agreement. Deebo Samuel or Chris Olave, and Isaiah Pacheco or Leonard Fournette.
It's Olave for me. I like the stats that Dave Richard brought up while he was here as well, supporting Chris Olave, and then I will go Pacheco over Fournette.
Same here.
Full PPR, you're going to do that? Pacheco over Fournette?
Yeah, just kind of worried about what the workload's going to look like for Fournette. I think he probably gets somewhere like 10 to 12 touches, maybe 3 of those are receptions, something like that. But Pacheco's seeing a pretty safe workload, so I'll go with him.
All right, Gus, Nico, Drake, London, or A.J. Dillon. Who's our half PPR flex?
It's Gus Edwards for me.
Yeah.
Same, but I am very intrigued by A.J. Dillon.
I'm very intrigued by Nico Collins, but I'm going to go with Gus Edwards. You should get about 15 carries from Gus Edwards, and hopefully he scores. Pierce, Swift, Kirk, or Sanders? Pick one. Kirk for me.
Yes, it's Kirk.
I'll say Pierce.
My only Kirk concern is if Jeff Okudah follows him around a little bit. All right, two Kirks and a Pierce. 2 more here. Christian Watson or Cordero Patterson, half PPR?
It's Christian Watson for me.
Christian Watson.
Dak Prescott or Justin Fields?
Justin Fields.
I'm going to lean towards Dak, but that's a tough call.
Wow, we ended up with almost 1,200 votes. And Goodfellas wins because of the trilogy thing. Otherwise, Godfather definitely would have won. But that's okay. Next time we'll nail it. Thank you. Jordan, thanks for coming on. It was great having you on.
Thank you, guys. That was a lot of fun.
You had a home run. First time up. That was great stuff. It's Jordan Dejani. Follow him on Twitter at Jordan Dejani. Follow Frank at Roto_Frank. And don't follow me. It's just a bunch of movie stuff. And team names. Darrington Abbey. Team name I came up with, tweeted it the other night. That's the kind of stuff you get when you follow me. Good luck, everybody. We'll talk to you at 8 p.m.-ish Eastern to recap the games. Should be an awesome day. Let's go get a win. See ya.